27th chapter. Till now, what we've been speaking about is thoughts, negative thoughts, sinful thoughts, and what great pleasure it gives to God Almighty that when we take those thoughts and don't give them playtime, we don't entertain them, we don't cogitate, meditate upon them, we push them away when they enter our head because we know that they shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be there. Of course, this is not about thoughts that are trying to figure out how to fix something, how to deal with a negativity. We're not talking about how. We're not talking here about how to deal with a negativity. We're talking about here entertaining the negativity, entertaining the wrongful thought in your mind. Gives great divine pleasure. As we explain, how beautiful it is, the idea of truly serving God, because what goes on in your head is privy to you. You don't share. By the way, fellow friend, I really had some nasty thoughts about you because of what you said to me. You don't usually say that to a person, hopefully not. And so it's only between you but those nasty thoughts, I pushed them away because I didn't want to have nasty thoughts about you. So you don't share that with anybody and your achievement in pushing it away. It's just between you and God. And the fact that we engage in that really means that we're taking our relationship with God Almighty extremely seriously. And it is therefore a great accomplishment, great divine pleasure. So that's on the negative side. Today, the Alter Rebbe says that we can also give that on a positive side, not from negative thoughts, but from things that are permissible in our lives. And if we delay the impulse, permissible doesn't make it holy, doesn't make it something you should do. It just means you're allowed to do it. And if you delay the gratification, you delay the impulse in areas that you're allowed to do, what you're doing is subduing the Siter Acher. You're subduing the left part of your heart that is self-directed, because the gratification, permissible gratification, is in the end self-directed. It's about me. It's an expression of my animal soul. So, for example, eating kosher, not pigging out in your eating. I'm not talking about that. We're talking about eating, exactly what as much as you need to give you strength to serve God. There's a gratification there, obviously. I mean, at least I know I have a gratification in eating something that is, desirable. The fact that I desire it and I delay that gratification, that gives a great divine pleasure. In other words, right now, we'll take the example now. Some of us might be hungry, and we delayed the gratification to eat, and we're not eating while we're learning. We're focused on our learning, and we're not going to eat afterwards. Imagine you delay your gratification 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a small amount of time. It's a great accomplishment. The Alter Rebbe doesn't speak about the great personal accomplishment over here, but of course it is a great personal accomplishment. He's speaking about something much more divine. It's a great divine satisfaction to God that you fill that time with doing a mitzvah of His to get closer to Him. You are subduing the forces of negativity within the individual and within the world. And this is an amazing accomplishment, even if it's a little bit. But now, if I delay my gratification in eating and I'm going to spend that time, doing work, so then I'm just transferring one personal gratification for another gratification. And I'm doing my thing. But in both areas, they're my thing. I'm working instead of eating right now. So I'm hungry, but you know what? For whatever reason, this thing's more important to me right now. But it's all about me and what's important to me. If what I'm delaying my gratification in eating, and it is in order to study Torah or to do some other mitzvah that's God's mitzvah, that's what we're talking about. In that instance, there's a huge, huge accomplishment in subduing that force within me, a huge divine pleasure. Our sages, it says in the Talmud, regular people would eat in the fourth hour, in the fourth hour of the day. The sages would eat in the sixth hour, even though they studied before and after, so it didn't make a difference. Might as well eat just earlier. Why delay your meal? For that reason. They did it in order that not to allow the desire that I have to control me. I control it, and by that I am subjugating the negative forces of within me and the world, and exalting God in a tremendous way, and with divine pleasure in a tremendous way. And speaking also, this applies. In other words, if I want to speak something, not words of Torah, but I want to speak something that is totally permissible, but it's a personal gratification to speak this, not a divine gratification, not words of holiness or words of mitzvah, whether words of Torah, words of prayer, for example. But I delay that gratification, right? I restrain myself from saying that mundane matter that is perfectly okay. That is perfectly okay. Oh, did you hear about, and something that might be, and you delay that. Did you hear the news about, what happened in Israel? Did you hear the news? What happened? Whatever. And if it's an important thing that someone should know, it's one thing. But if it's just a mundane thing that is not there in the realm of divine service, and I hold myself back from saying it for the sake of not just giving in to my desire, that's really what it is. It's that we all have a desire. That desire comes as an expression of the animal soul that's within us. And if I don't give that desire its space, what I'm doing is subduing it. And I'm doing it. And the reason why I'm doing it, what's very important, is the intent is to serve God. The intent is just, that I should be, a greater, just, a master of myself rather than the servant of God. So then that's not giving divine gratification. It may be self-improvement, for sure will be, because you're in control rather than allowing your desire to control you. So there is, obviously some human value to that, but the Alter Rebbe is saying no. And this is, he concludes and says that this is the idea that that there's a mitzvah, that it says, our sages say that if a person consecrates themselves down here in a small measure, he'll be sanctified greatly from above. Even though sanctification means to remove yourself from the mundane. That's what holy means. So you removed yourself from the mundane, the eating, the drinking, the talking of those things that are of mundane, and you removed yourself, even though you're not a holy person. But by the little bit that you did, even literally, it's just 5 minutes that you delayed some kind of personal gratification, then you're sanctified greatly from above on a personal level. And as it says, there is a mitzvah in the Torah, Kedoshim Tiyu, sanctify yourself. So the sanctify yourself means that you gotta do the sanctity yourself, and sanctify yourself means you will ultimately be sanctified. In other words, when you sanctify means the concept of being removed from the earthly, the mundane. When we will engage in that, we will certainly then become holier individuals. In other words, that thing that I have a desire towards, slowly but surely will become less important in my life. and the connection to God becomes more real and more important. This is, I must say that in our day and age, to do this in any degree is probably so much more valuable than in the days of the Alter Rebbe. Today we live in a world of plenty. Everything is so easily accessible. Everything is at our hands, literally in a phone. And I can have instant gratification today in a way that it never existed in the world. Literally, I can have in negative ways, in really negative ways. So this concept of that I don't have instant gratification, today, when computers first came out, it took a while till you get the information. Today, it's so instantaneous. Any question I have on Google, anything I want to, entertainment that I want to have, it's there in the moment. We are so entertainment driven. Some of it is actually not permissible stuff, but even the permissible things, it is so easily accessible 24/7. That the fact that we entertain the idea of not having instant gratification is so contrary to the world we live in today, that if we entertain it somewhat, engage in what we just said over here from the Alter Rebbe's teachings to some degree, as little as it'll be, is a huge achievement on a personal level. That becomes that a person will be sanctified a little bit down here. They'll be sanctified a lot from above. It is a huge achievement in a personal level. The divine gratification is beyond what you could imagine today than ever before. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to myself. And because it's, so easy to push our, So just on a personal level, and I don't, generally speaking, I will not eat breakfast until I have certain things that I need to do accomplished, of saying Tehillim, sometimes certain learning or whatever, and with the awareness that I need to do that beforehand, so then I push off eating as a result, and even sometimes you might be a little hungry. That's okay. We ain't gonna starve, that's for sure. And if we do that in order to have a deeper connection, a more profound connection, as we just said, it's in this day and age, it is amazing. It is amazing. If anybody has thoughts about that, anybody wants to, something to bring about. Robert from Boston, welcome. Dave from Scotland, good afternoon. Margaret Lozata from Poland, also good afternoon to you. John is with us from North Carolina, and Karen from London, which is also good afternoon. Susan from Florida, John, shalom. Tony is with us from Costa Rica. Sandy, good morning. Stephanie from Bloomington, Illinois, Boker Tov. Rick from the Chicago area, good morning. Orly from Mexico. Robert, shalom. Jonalyn, thank you. Linda from Nebraska, good morning. Darren. Putting off breakfast for something more important. Yeah. If we do that in our Tanya every day, like that, this is a great possible engagement for everybody that is with us. if it's like around the time that you would normally eat and you don't, and you focus on Tanya for the time that we spend together, first of all, I guarantee everybody who does that, what you feel in a personal achievement, but I don't want you to get stuck there. The divine satisfaction, the divine pleasure that we create. Wow. Yeah, and from Mexico, news from the Philippines, if I remember correctly. Rivka, good afternoon to you in Germany. Lou from Yardley, Pennsylvania. Boker Tov. Clem, Brisbane. All right, thank you. Anna from Norway. Thank you. Tamar is with us from Herzliya in Israel. Thank you. Alice from Baltimore. Nawiz from Mozambique. Oren. Ushi. We're not talking about here about fasting the whole day. That's not what we're talking about. But when it comes to food, it means just delaying. No, it's not about fasting here. It's about that we have a will. That will is an expression of the animal soul. It's not an expression of my godly soul, that will. Not the will to eat, at least. The will to learn Tanya is a different story. Thank you, Louise. Sigalit. Exactly. If what we're doing is putting God before our own desires. Exactly. Well put. Shaheen, good morning. Elijah from LA. Jane from Illinois. Thank you for joining. Nadia from Jerusalem. Thank you. Putting your kids' needs before yourself might be and might not be. It may not be. A person who's not your own child to put their needs before yours, that's a different story. But your own child could be, not necessarily, could be that it's still an expression of the animal soul because it's my kid, right? If it's not because it's my kid, but it's my responsibility, then yes. It's a little tricky there. Jean from Alabama. Boris, good morning. Okay. Instagram. I'm sorry. There's a lot of people that have shared. Shalom. Steve. Stardust from Germany. Chaya Sarah from Amsterdam. From Israel. Shalom. Marilyn from Delaware. Sharon. St. Vincent. Birmingham, UK. I'm not sure. Min. Jonathan from South Orange, New Jersey. From Argentina, Valentine. I don't know if I got that right. Shalom from Argentina. Shalom from Israel. All right, folks. Sharing is caring. Please share the Alter Rebbe's teachings with others. Very important. And a reminder that you can get the Tanya Rabbi or Tanya Rabbi or the Tanya Rabbi. Tanya Rabbi, you can get it everywhere on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn for a 1-minute review. We spent over around 20 minutes, a 1-minute review of today's class. And that way we can spread the word to so many more. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Feinstein from Chabad Zurich in Kedeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have a wonderful day.